are speaking with the man himself, the chairman of the Community Police Oversight Board in Dallas, Texas, Mr. Jesuorobo Jr. Jesuorobo, welcome to the show. Welcome. Thank you for
Man, you
taking
just
the time
demolished my name, bro.
I know, man. I started this. Hey, I know. I'm not good at
That's okay. That's okay,
pronounce
man.
it correctly for the folks know exactly who you are.
It's Jesuorobo Enobakhare Jr., and I am the chairman of the Dallas Community Police Oversight Board.
Hey, I thank you for taking the time out to come on the show this morning. Um, like I was telling you, it's a special show to me because we've been trying for about a couple of weeks trying to get together to bring some highlight to it. But I would like to know, because I've done some research on the Community Police Oversight Board. Could you explain to the people exactly, give them a brief description exactly what this board do?
Okay, sure. First of all, I just want to thank you again for allowing me to be on your show. I know we've had a lot of scheduling issues, Ben, but one of the things that I want to press is that Black media is important. I
Yes.
mean, without you, the word out to the community, a lot of times it's missed. And a lot of times when the word is out through other media channels, there's a narrative that may not necessarily be our narrative. So I just want to say, brother, I appreciate you. I know the struggle that you have as far as getting people to share your information and tune in. I have those same struggles. I have friends that, hey man, we support you, this, that, and other, but they don't share what I'm doing. They don't share the impact that we have in the community, because one of the things is that there are people that don't know what we're doing. And it takes the people around us that know what we're doing to
Yeah.
share that out so that everyone knows it, because everyone more than likely would take seriously something that they receive from someone they trust. So, brother, I trust you. I appreciate you having me on the show. And yeah, let's get to it.
All right. Now, hey, I appreciate it. So,
Yeah.
can you tell the people a little bit about the review board, exactly what y'all are doing, and the reason for the review board, and it kind of give us a brief description of it.
Okay. Well, one of the things, so our previous board was the Citizens Police Review Board. And that was a board that had absolutely no power at all. And so that board itself was disbanded, and a group of activists, I mean, you had this coalition of people from all across Dallas, different religions, different races. You had some of the old soldiers that have been in the fight for decades. You have some of the new soldiers that are fighting now, and they came together and created a community police oversight board. There's a brother, Changa Higgins, Dominique Alexandra. We have to also give a shout out to the Honorable Diane Ragsdale, and a lot of other people fought to get this thing put together. And then the chair of the previous board, Dr. Brian Williams, he realized that the board didn't have the power that it needed to do the job that the citizens of Dallas required. And so he also helped to lead the charge. And then he recommended me to take over as the chair after he left, and the mayor agreed with that recommendation. And so I'm here. And one of the things that our board is designed to do, we really have two channels that we work with. One of the things is making sure that the community has a say-so in police officer complaints and discipline. And when I say the community, we represent 14 city council districts, and then I am appointed by the mayor. And so as a result of that, we are the voice of those city council districts. And so when we're looking at these complaints that the Office of Community Police Oversight handles, which we will talk about that in a few minutes, we have to make sure that we agree with the recommendations on you know, discipline for the police officers, and also the outcome of the complaint. So that's one of the things, is making sure that resident complaints have a fair and thorough review process. And then the next thing is, and this is one of the more important pieces, is policy review. We have the power to review any and all Dallas Police Department policies and provide recommendations on improvements to those policies. We don't need a complaint in order to review. We can decide to review it at any moment, a policy. In the last meeting, we decided we passed a motion to review the full use force policy that Dallas Police Department has, as well as the protest policy. So those are some things that we've done that kind of outlines our power. Now we have to talk about the Office of Community Police Oversight, which is the staff that supports us. Previous board didn't have any type of staff, any type of support, any type of budget. So it really was a group of volunteers that came together and looked at complaints and either say, hey, we agree with the outcome, or no, we don't agree with the outcome. If we don't, we send it back to the police department for them to review it again, which is not a good model at all. That is not a way for you to instill any type of trust in the community. So with the Office of Community Police Oversight, that is the office. We have a director of police oversight who's also the police monitor. So her job is basically to review and review police policy. And also, if there are any critical incidents, she's there on the scene. If there is a use of force incident where a police officer shoots someone, or a Dallas police officer shoots someone, or a police officer that's not a Dallas police officer that shoots someone within the city limits of Dallas, she will be on the scene. As a matter of fact, not only does she get a telephone call to head to the scene, but I also get a telephone call alerting me that something has happened. So there's a lot of transparency, there's a lot of communication that goes on. And in our board meetings, we discuss these critical incidents as well.
Okay. Hey, that's a lot of good information right there. Once again, if you're just not tuning in, I want to welcome you to Speak on It with Who You With, Kurt Dog. And we are talking to the chairman of the Community Police Oversight Board, and here in Dallas, Texas, Jesuorobo Jr. I'm not going to try to mess up. I'm not going to chop your last name up again, but he's the man of the street. If you turn on the news, you see him all the time down there protesting. He also just speak power to everything that he do. Every news station is trying to get him on, interviewing him and stuff like that. And this is a brother that I've been knowing for probably about 17 years. And he's a good, strong brother. He's a great leader. So this is the type of person that we need, that is going to be over oversight board for the community. Now, also, I want to ask you, since you've been doing this, what type of impact have it made in the community, and what do y'all expect for it to have in the future for the community?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the major impacts that we have in the community is that for the first time, an independent observer is observing Dallas Police Department actions. We have someone who's not a member of the Dallas Police Department that's on the scene at use of force incidents. She's at the police department when they are questioning suspects. She's there observing, and she brings the information back to the board so that the board can communicate those things to the community through our board meetings. That's something that is completely new in the city of Dallas. And we're starting to see these oversight models around the country. Houston has one, Austin has one, Detroit has one, LA has one, and they have varying power and mandates and things of that nature. But you're going to see, especially the climate we're in now, we're going to see a lot of oversight boards starting to pop up in various cities across the country.
Yes, we definitely need them because with some of the stories that come out, especially in LA, some of the stories that come out of there, police abuse and stuff like that. So this is the reason why we need a community police oversight board. It should be nationwide in every major city. Um, so it's definitely something that we need as a community. Um, how do I know personally, just by knowing you, who you are, but some people may be like, hey, what if I decide I want to get on it? I know y'all have a term for a certain length of term that y'all can be on the board for 2 years. And then do they re-elect people or
Mm-hmm.
they continue?
So the way it works is you reach out to your city council member and state your interest, and there's an application that you fill out. Now for current board members, it's a 2-year term, meaning that, for instance, our board term for the entire board, our term ends in September of 2021. So at that point, if you haven't served 3 consecutive terms, city council member can reappoint you.
Okay.
If the city council member doesn't think that, you are cutting it, they can appoint someone else. But I think that it's very important for residents of Dallas to develop a relationship with their city council members and reach out to them, state your interests on the board, and let it be known so that when those openings come up, you can, 9 times out of 10, if they already know somebody that's already interested in it, they'll go ahead and just reach out to you.
Okay.
But you have to build a relationship with your city council member and just really just stay in their face.
And that's what we need. Help me build a relationship with your city council, all your elected officials, get to know them,
Exactly.
make sure they know you, because you never know if your city decides to start a program like this, they may look at you because you're always there. You're involved in the community. They know who you are, and you can also send in live questions while we're doing the show. If you have a question for Mr. Chairman, definitely send them in. Send the question in, and I will read them out on the live show. So definitely send them in. Now, you also just kind of curious when the protests happened and all the arrests happened. That the community, I know I've seen on the news, y'all got involved. Um, how did you feel about what happened after the police chief actually said no one would be arrested? How did the community review board feel about that situation?
Well, let's talk about that night. Let's talk about that night, okay? So the director of the Office of Community Police Oversight, Pastor Tanya McClary, she and I actually spoke at that protest. We spoke at that protest. We stayed there. We watched the march for a little bit. They were marching on Riverfront Boulevard. They marched down the southbound lane. Then they did a U-turn, started marching down the northbound lanes, and then they made a pivot to get on the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge.
Okay.
And so the director, she was like, I wonder, should I stay? And I was like, well, I think it's going to be fine. The police are kind of directing and keeping traffic away so that they can march safely. So, we left. I think she went back to her office. I went home. Maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes later, I'm getting telephone calls from friends. Hey, man, are you watching the news? Or are you out at the protests? It look like they're throwing tear gas and shooting rubber bullets and flashbangs at people on the bridge. I'm like, what? So I turn on, I'm looking at one of the news websites, and it's showing this in real time. You have a helicopter view of a standoff between peaceful protesters and police. You have a group of protesters protesting police brutality and excessive force, and that protest is being met with police brutality and excessive force. And you have children that were on that bridge. You had city council members that were on that bridge. You had school board trustees that were on that bridge, students. And, one thing we really don't talk about this, we have a lot of veterans from the Gulf War, from Afghanistan that have served, they served their duty proudly, and now they're private citizens now. And they fought for us to maintain these rights that we have, because freedom isn't free. And so they are out there participating in a constitutional exercise of free speech. Not only that, but they're out there just seeing, the fruit of their labor, and they are being hit with things that remind them of being in a war zone. And so now you have another issue, because you have some veterans that may be suffering from PTSD. And now they've been forced into a mental state that they should not have been forced into. And so now, before they go home, they may decide to self-medicate and could get possibly stopped for DUI, or they may get home and still not be in that right frame of mind. And guess what? That's on the police.
Yeah.
So all of the protesters, the intention was for them to be arrested. That's not a mistake. The intention was for them all to be arrested. However, the DA, the sheriff, the county judge, they decided that they were not going to allow Lou Sterrett to take them. So you have these 600 protesters that are being arrested around the block of the county jail, and those that are over the county jail said, no, we're not taking them. So therefore, they had no choice but to let them go. I mean, they had everybody's names, and everybody received a citation. But one of the things that night, I was on the phone with the city manager. I was on the phone with Councilmember Casey Thomas. I was on the phone with Councilmember Omar Narvaez, and they really, really were disgusted and upset with what they saw. I was completely disgusted. I just felt betrayed, and I know a lot of the citizens felt betrayed because of the fact that the police's job is to protect. Then why are you attacking the people that you're supposed to be protecting?
True.
And that is a problem in many communities, especially Black communities and communities of color, where we, the people that you should be protecting, are treated as though we're enemies, and we feel as though you're occupying force, as though you're the military that's occupied Afghanistan. Our rights are not treated the same as those in the upper class communities. Even the interactions between the police and members of the Black community and other underserved communities is totally different from what you see in these upper class communities. And that has to change because of the fact that for far too long there's been two Americas, and that has to change, and it has to change on a local level.
I agree with you. Want to welcome Tracy and Carolyn to the show. Tracy says, "Oh, true." Carolyn said, "Hello." Also, so I think, my personal opinion, I think the court did a great thing by ordering use of less lethal force on the protesters. What is your opinion about that? I think you just kind of summed it up on the last answer because they shouldn't have used tear gas and rubber bullets. We see people getting injured from it and stuff like that. So that's only going to cause a bigger issue down the road. And I would also like to ask, how do you feel about people talking about defunding the police department?
Okay. First, I don't think I answered your first question, the previous question completely. So all of the protesters that were arrested, all of the charges have been dropped. But not only that, but I know City Council member Omar Norvaz has demanded that they drop charges for everybody that was arrested for curfew violations.
Okay.
So that's something that they're fighting for there. So pretty much anyone that was arrested for curfew violation, they're trying to fight to get those charges dropped, and I support it 100%. Now, in regards to the court order, the court order is stating that they can no longer use these non-lethal use of force options, like the tear gas, the rubber bullets, the sponge bullets, things of that nature, because even though they claim to be non-lethal, they're actually very lethal. We have a young man who lost his eye, somebody who has a fractured skull, a broken jaw. You have people that have all types of injuries. And Lord forbid somebody with asthma is out there when they're hitting them with tear gas. That could almost be a fatal incident. So I agree. We're dealing with peaceful protesters. Peaceful protesters should be allowed the space to exercise their First Amendment rights, period.
Yes, sir.
Now, defunding the police department, a lot of people think that means that it's disbanding the police department and there'll be no police. That's not what defunding means. Defunding means a few things. One thing it means is demilitarizing the police department. We have a police department that is, and many police departments that are trained as if they're about to go out on a battlefield. And in many instances, there is really what's needed is a pledge to do no harm. Because a lot of times when the police is called, there may be an instance where someone is having a mental, emotional breakdown, and the family can't control them and they need help. So what defunding the police department would mean is that instead of the police department answering that call, another entity that is trained in handling mental and emotional crises would be called to the scene to handle that call. So that's just an example. Also defunding the police department, again, it doesn't mean disbanding. That would mean that let's get to some of these root causes of crime, because a lot of times in some of our communities, a lot of on crimes of poverty, meaning you steal some milk and bread from the grocery store. You're not about to sell it. You're doing it because you're hungry. You need some milk and bread. So we're going to allow some of those funds to tackle some of these things, such as food deserts and chronic poverty and things of that nature. So that because we know we have neighborhoods that have just been poor since we were children.
Yes.
They were poor. We were children. They were poor when their parents were children. And when you have these areas, and some of them are called crime hotspots, they're, pretty much the only thing the police has done is really just contain the crime to that area to keep it from spilling out into other parts of the city. So we need resources to go in and resolve that issue, resolve the poverty issue, resolve the mental health issues that are due to poverty. that are due to lack of nutrition. Let's tackle these educational gaps. Because we have a government system, especially with education, that allows people to take tax dollars from public schools and send their kids to private schools. And what kind of sense does that make? Not everybody can do it, so we have to reinvest in our schools. Hey, you want to go to a private school? Foot the bill.
Yeah,
Government shouldn't be paying for it unless it's going to pay for everyone.
exactly. And and you mentioned about uh, some of the law. Well, I know you can't really speak too much on it, but people getting injured from these rubber bullets and the tear gas and all of that, which normally end up as a lawsuit. Do you think that the settlement from the lawsuit should come from the police pension fund? Because I've been hearing a lot of people saying, "Hey, the
Um,
police pension fund should pay for
let me approach that question from a different angle.
that." Okay,
There are people that did not want an oversight board in the city of Dallas. They felt that there was a waste of taxpayers' money. Where would you rather, $1.5 million go? Would you rather $1.5 million go to one settlement from a police use of force lawsuit, or would you rather that $1.5 million going towards an oversight board that can ensure that these type of issues are far and few in between? How would you rather spend your tax money?
I would definitely say the oversight board is very important. So I will put the money there, and hopefully, eventually, officers will understand that you cannot have this type of mentality and take advantage of you wearing a badge and hurting the citizen, where it's going to end up being financially strained toward the citizen. So I would definitely put the money toward the oversight board because from what I've seen so far, y'all have done a great job. And like you said, when something happened, y'all get an alert go out and y'all are on the scene right then and there. You're not waiting 2 or 3 days to find out what's happening. You're on the scene just as it happened. So I definitely will put them on the oversight board.
Yeah, so that these are the hey, enough is enough. I'm tired of my tax dollars going towards these lawsuits and these settlements. We need to do something proactive to stop these from happening. You know, we should be safe on these streets. We should be safe from crime, and we should be safe from the police. It's
Exactly.
just that. It's just that simple.
Now, how can the community help with the oversight board? Um, what would you ask the community to prevent these things from happening? What part can they play?
But right now, I say that the conscience of America is speaking, and Dave Chappelle says the streets.
Yes,
The streets are talking. The streets are talking, man. They are speaking loud and clear that change is needed. So it's up to city council members and county commissioners and state members of the state legislature and Congress to listen. To listen. Don't think that you can outsmart the voters. Don't think you can outsmart the community. These protests are not just protests. There are people behind the scenes that are working on policy right as we speak. Don't think that people are just protesting just to be protesting. There is a very strategic process that's happening, and we're seeing this play out. And most of the ones that are leading the charge are those that weren't even alive for the Rodney King incident. I'm an old cat. I'm 48 years old. A lot of people are like, yeah, man, we like, young men. I'm like young men. I'm 48. I'll be 49 this year. So, I'm so proud of these warriors in the street that have decided that a pandemic doesn't scare me to the point where I'm not going to fight to finally get rid of racism and inequity in this country. And I'm so proud of them for doing it. I'm proud. And the sad thing is that there are a lot of, 40, 50 something. They're like, what are they doing? Why are they just out there in the street? It's dangerous and this, that, and the other. When are things going to get back to normal? Things are not going to go back to normal.
Exactly.
Because one, normal was dysfunctional as hell. We would see these incidents of a black man or a young black woman get killed by the police. And then we get upset. We get fired up. Well, some of us will only get fired up on social media. Let me put that out there, make that, perfectly clear. We get fired up, we protest, and then, we go home and go back to normal life. Now, in the back of our mind, in our hearts, that pain is still there. And so you have all of these names. And when I opened up the board meeting this past Tuesday, we had 8 minutes and 46 seconds silence. And I read off all of the names that I knew of black men and women who have died at the hands of the police. Unarmed black men and women. That was about probably over 5 minutes of me just names. That's unacceptable. And those are just the names that we know. I even ended it with the names of those specific to Dallas, because Dallas has this problem too. And, we talk about Texas leading the nation and things. Texas leads the nation in killing black people.
Yes.
So we need to lead the change in providing a solution. And as I said, America's conscience is speaking very loud and clear. The streets are talking. It's time for elected officials to listen. Members of the community, they should be. Right now, we're in a pandemic, so a lot of city council meetings are virtual, which makes it easier to go to the city council. If you're at home or if you're at work, log into it from your phone. Listen to it. Listen to the city council. Sign up to call in and speak. There's nothing more powerful than you speaking and getting your voice on record at a city council meeting. There's nothing more powerful. Calling your city council members. Community Oversight Board. Find out who represents your city council district and flood them with emails as far as what you feel needs to be done as far as policing goes. And also, our board meetings are every Tuesday from at 5:30 to 7. Of course, again, we're in a pandemic, so you can't come in. So we'll have a link every week for those to sign up, and you can watch it on the city council website, things of that nature. And if you want to speak, you'll be able to sign up, speak, and things of that nature. And the Office of Community Police Oversight is very good at getting information out. But it's really up to the community to share that information. I do my best to try to share this information out. I share it on Twitter. I share it on Facebook, Instagram. What I need is for those of you who are my friends that follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, I need you to do more than like it. I need you to share it. Share it out so the community knows, so that they can be an active participant in these things, because of the fact that if the people know, they will show up. And I think people do want to be more involved in how they're governed, and they just don't know how to do it in many instances. And this is not about shaming someone and saying, well, you should have known this. It's about, hey, you want to get involved? Awesome. This is how you do it. Period.
Okay. And while we're talking, we also have it in the chat. And have an email for the Office of Community Oversight Board. They have an email, phone number that you can call if you want to participate in a meeting, if you have a complaint also. And also, there's a link to the City of Dallas um, website that is about the Oversight Community Board also. And for the Community Police Oversight Board, there's also a link to that website. So definitely take advantage of it, click on it, get knowledge of it. And also, if you want to see some of the past meetings, because every meeting is recorded, and they have the link on there where you can actually see the past meetings. This past week, they was in a meeting for 4.5 hours. So this is uh, you broke up?
So we never do that again. I said, I hope we never do that again.
4.5
You know,
hours.
I was the week before the city council had an 8-hour meeting.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow. I sat through the whole meeting. I'm talking about this a Friday.
Mm.
I think it's like maybe 10 o'clock. The meeting. I think I may have dozed off a little bit on it. So then, we turn around and we have a 4.5 hour meeting. And I mean, it was rough, but you got to keep in mind we had not met since March. We had a lot of business to take care of, and one of the things about these board meetings is you think they're going to be exciting, whatever. But we have a lot of procedural stuff that we have to do that's kind of boring, but it's the stuff that we have to do because when you really look at how city governments work, the way city governments do a lot of the work of government is through these boards. And these boards made up of citizens of the city. So citizens really have a huge responsibility in how the city of Dallas operates. And so one of the things on my board, okay, so we have these 14 board members, these 14 city council districts that have appointed 14 members, and then you have the chair who's appointed by the mayor. But what we've decided, we have subcommittees on our board. We have a community engagement and transparency subcommittee. We have a policy subcommittee. We have a technology and data subcommittee, and we have a rules committee. And so for those committees, we are asking for members of the community to join us as non-voting members on those committees. I mean, each of those committees will hold at most 3 members of the community. They can only serve on one committee, but that allows them a say in how the board operates. So, we really want to get people involved. I mean, we're doing this work for free. So, and it's time-consuming work. But if you really want to solve these complex problems that we have, you're going to have to make some sacrifices of yourself in order to be a part of the solution.
Okay. And also, I noticed on the website, because I went through it, looked at a couple of things, and you can also file a complaint. It's a complaint form located on the website if you have a complaint against a police officer. And I've noticed at the bottom, whoever from your office get the complaint, they must log in, sign it with their ID number on there also to make sure if it come back, and each complaint is looked at. I wish they would have had it years ago when I had an incident of racial profile. I wish they had this particular thing. I did take the step, went to the internal affairs, made a complaint. This back when Chief Terrell Bowden was chief of police, so it'd been a long time ago. So, but definitely fill out the complaint. Don't think nothing won't happen, because we have people in place now that can actually take a look at these complaints and make sure they are handled properly. So, other than that, Jay, I really appreciate you coming on here. And if how can what are your plans for the future? Once your term is up, I'm sure you're gonna. I recommend you be on there for the full term length. And after that, do you have other plans that you looking at going toward?
Uh, hopefully, we'll get all this stuff resolved and I can go off in the sunset and get married to some woman that'll have me and just have a good life, man. But but on a serious note, I want to mention this. Um, we have a city that has a black police chief,
Yes.
a black mayor, a black sheriff. The fire chief is black. Our state senator is black. Um, board chair is black. And so someone on the outside would be like, well, we have all these black people leading, and why is this stuff changing? One of the things that you have to understand, and this was illustrated perfectly for President Obama, is just because you have a black leader, that does not remove the structural and institutional racism that's in these institutions. And so we have to work to get the racism, the inequity. We have to work to purge these institutions and structures of that. And it takes all of us working together. And one of the things that I say is that people have lost faith in these institutions because of the fact that the institutional racism is there. They've lost faith in them, and a black face does not restore that faith. We have to take these leadership positions very, very seriously and understand it is not about grabbing power. It's about serving the public and doing what's morally right. Not doing what's right to make sure I get reelected or reappointed. Some days I think, and someday I'm going to get that call. They're going to tell me, you know what, Mr. Chair, you need to step down. Because I'm not going to silence my truth. And my truth has the moral authority attached to it. And so I'm just not going to be quiet. Whoever you point a mic and a camera in front of my face, I'm going to tell the truth because the truth needs to be heard.
Exactly.
But I think that as leaders, we have to push forward and earn the trust of the community so that the community comes back and works with us to make these changes. And when you see trust earned, you'll see voter turnout increasing. You'll see voter engagement increasing and president involvement increasing because of the fact that there's trust. So, people will spend top dollar to go see Beyonce. They trust Beyonce. They will line up outside of the stadium to see Beyonce. Yesterday, if Beyonce had given a concert at 1 o'clock, free, everybody would have, and their mama would have been there. And if it would have been streamed online, they would have logged in to see it. I had the most important speech of my life yesterday. I was able to speak on a panel that included that the senator, one of the senators of Texas, hosted.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can tell you that pretty much none of my friends watched it. I sent them the link or whatever, and they had other stuff to do. I'm not Beyonce.
And that's why we need to support our community oversight board. I'm still stuck on that first name, but I'm getting better.
It's a few years. It really, it's going to take a few years before people just completely forget. And you know what else it's going to take? It's going to take us really doing our job and really proving that we are who we are and we're what's needed in the community. And when we earn the right for people to recognize and know who we are, then that's when we made it.
Most definitely. And definitely, like I said, I've been knowing him for years, and this is a great brother. Always have a upbeat spirit, and he's always willing to help no matter what. So I appreciate you for your leadership, everything that you do in the community. And if you ever out and see this brother, take a couple of minutes and just introduce yourself, speak to him, and ask him how can you help. What's going on? If can I come and get on the call or be a speaker on the oversight on the community police oversight board, and they have it set up. They allow 5 people before the meeting to talk. Is that what was on the website?
And yeah, the first 5 people get 3 minutes. We have
3 minutes.
15 minutes of public comment at the beginning of the meeting, and then the end of the meeting we have public comment until all the speakers speak. And so since we had so many speakers lined up, I amended the rules and allowed a minute and a half so that we could get 10 people to speak before the meeting started.
Okay. 10 minutes. So don't go in there trying to talk about everything in the neighborhood. Get straight to the point. Bring it out. And definitely sign up for it before you go to the meeting, because there is a deadline. You have to be signed up before you're able to speak. So definitely go to the website. Go ahead.
It's only because of the technical difficulties. The fact that we don't have the public meetings. You have to log in online so that we can get you into the queue, because it's a small staff and they're trying to support the meeting, and so they're trying to get everybody signed up beforehand so they can support the board during the meeting. Now, when we get back to in-person meetings, at that point, you don't have to sign. You can sign up in advance, but when we get back to in-person meetings, you can sign up to speak the day of the meeting.
Okay.
And not only that, but if you decide during the meeting that you want to speak, all you have to do is just, once we finish all the business and we open the mic back up, you can just walk down and start speaking.
Okay. And when they come down at the end, is it still 3 minutes also?
Yeah, it'll be 3 minutes. It's really, the rules are 3 minutes, or if the chairman allows additional time, it's up to me. I can give additional time if it's required.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good information to know. I'm actually going to tune in on the next show, the next meeting, which is July the 14th. I will be tuning in, watching it. And I would encourage all my listeners to also tune in. Hello, Charles Hunt. Welcome. We have LA in the building. So welcome to the show, Charles. And hopefully other major cities will actually copy what Dallas is doing for the community police oversight board, and put them in place where we can actually start building a bond between the policemen and the community. Because I know when I was a child, sometimes you would see policemen and they'll give you little football cards and stuff like that. I don't think they still do it anymore, but that's the way it was growing up. But it also knew your officers in your neighborhood too, who's on the beat out there. So, but definitely, if you have any questions about the police oversight board, the community police oversight board, definitely ask your question. We have them here to be able to answer your questions. So definitely send them in and ask anything you want. But other than that, Jay, man, I so appreciate this time. Oh, and also let's note, you can only, if you sign up to be a speaker, you can only do it once every 30 days. So that don't mean every week you can come up and speak. It's only once every 30 days, and then you're able to speak. So we have to put that out there, because some people, they'll be signing up for the whole month and you get turned down. So don't want no surprises. Have you ever thought about
And
running?
you can only speak once per meeting. You can only speak one time in a meeting. There was one meeting where a gentleman came down to the mic multiple times. You can only come down to the mic one time to speak. We have to be respectful of all of the other residents that want to speak as well. So
So when y'all was doing the live in person meeting, about how many people was showing up at each meeting?
so when we first started meetings, we were meeting in a small auditorium, and we had so many people showing up that they moved our meetings to the city council chambers. So our
Okay.
meetings are now in the city council chambers so that we can ensure that everyone who wants to sit in on the meeting can sit in and have space. Especially now, I'm quite sure that when we start opening up again, with the fact that there'll still be social distancing, city council chambers is perfect because we can separate seats so that people can safely sit in the auditorium without being on top of each other.
Okay, that's good to know. That make a difference right there, because if they had to move you from a small room to a bigger room, that means people are interested in exactly the work that y'all are doing. So that's a wonderful thing, and we need more people to be more involved. You do not have to be a resident of the city of Dallas to come to these meetings, because you may actually want to come and take it to your city where they can also get a community police review board, oversight board. So you can come to those meetings, sit in, and take it back to your own community. So that's always a wonderful thing. And I'm going to ask you a question. And are you looking at in the future? Have you ever thought about running for office or anything, or is that something you thinking about or been approached with?
You know what, man? I'll be honest. The only people that ask me about running for, well, let me rephrase that. Most of the people that ask me about running for office are people that I know that wouldn't even support it. They're not going, they're not going to put a dollar towards the campaign. They're not going to make a call for me, anything like that, because they don't support me now. They support me in, word, but not in action. So, I take that with a grain of salt. But to be honest, I'm not interested in running for office. I have no aspirations for power. You know, I would rather us resolve this issue because I feel like this is, like I said, I'm 48. This is, God has blessed me with a tremendous opportunity to use my voice and to use my life, as an example and to help lead change. And so this may be the last fight that I have. And after that, I just want to go back to going to the movies and reading comic books and, just playing with my niece and nephews and spending time with my daughter and things of that nature. I'm really not interested. I have no aspirations for power. I've never really thought about running for any type of office. So, that's just right now. That's not in the cards for me right now.
No, okay. We actually had a question come in from Twitch. Um, Sad truth is, most police unions are still very corrupt. Is that saying? Is that saying all officers are corrupt? Absolutely not. I know officers who are not corrupt and do the job they're supposed to do. I think instead we need to focus on the individual forces, our unions, and weed out the corruption that way. I agree with you. I feel like we need to weed them out, and that lead to the question. Um, I heard talk of people saying what we need to do is have some type of data where if officers are doing stuff wrong, their name is in this list, and it will prevent them from getting jobs with other police department, because a lot of time, a lot of these police force, what they do, if an officer, they give them the option to resign, and that's for them to basically go to another force with a clean record before it comes out. How do you feel about that? What police department doing that?
I think that one, the unions are very powerful, and it's up to the individual police officer to decide how powerful do they want their union to be. I mean, they have the power and the control over their unions. You know, they vote on who's the leader, they vote on the rules. They have the power to decide what type of influence they want their union to have. You know, so that's one thing. Another thing is, yes, I think there needs to be a register. I think there needs to be one where you have police officers. If you've been fired from one police department for gross neglect and violations and things of that nature, you should not ever be able to work as a police officer again. It's just that simple. Why should someone who killed somebody in New York be able to come to Dallas and work as a police officer?
Exactly.
There's a chance they're probably going to kill somebody again. A lot of these police, like for instance, the guy who killed George Floyd, that guy had extensive record of issues. You know, I like to say that no one just wakes up one day and decides to kill someone. You know, you had to work your way up to that. And that's pretty much what he did. I mean, because if you look at just the way he killed them, I mean, he had his hands in his pockets. And you see these things because of the fact that now they realize that I'm going to get off.
Yep.
Not going to go to jail. I'm not going to get, I won't have to worry about an acquittal because I won't even get charged. And so that's why you see there were over 400 plus videos of officers using excessive force and police brutality since just the protest game. So when if I could rob a bank and the only thing I would get is a slap on the wrist, not even have to go to jail, why would I be hurt? Everybody would be robbing banks.
Exactly.
So you don't rob banks because of the fact that it's a federal crime. There are a lot of things that we don't do because of the fact that the law has stiff penalties for those actions. We need to make sure that the police has stiff penalties for the actions they do that go against the public trust.
I agree with you. And Dark Sage 9117 on Twitch had a two-part question. Not a question. Rest of it just came up. He said basically because again, not all officers are corrupt, but a majority of the forces, like the LAPD, from top to bottom, are corrupt organizations. So it's more of an organization problem than saying all police are corrupt. It started at the top with anything. If you don't have a good leader, it's going to trickle down, because some of the things that you see LAPD doing, you would think they learned their lesson with Rodney King, but they didn't. So it definitely started at the top.
Those officers weren't charged. Remember Rodney King, those officers weren't charged.
Yeah, they always.
Remember Rodney King? Yeah. So leadership is important, but there is something that's more powerful than leadership. And that's culture. And so when you talk about these these entities, these institutions, these structures, you have to also look at the fact that, sometimes it's not about the bad apples. Sometimes the tree is poisoned all the way to its roots. And you have to go down to the foundation and rebuild. And so that's why good leaders have so many challenges with these organizations, because of the fact that, it's more than just the leader. It's the institution that has to be transformed as well.
And that is one of the things that the Community Police Oversight Board is working on, trying to chop it off at the root, rebuild it, and build a bond between the police department and the community. And you need a Community Police Oversight Board in order to do that, because they don't work for the police department. They don't work for them at all. They're independent. So it's kind of like they don't choose sides on if this officer right or not. They choose it, but they go in neutral on it. And it's not favor for them to agree with the police officer. If he's in the wrong, this Community Police Oversight Board is going to hold him accountable. And that's why all major cities should have this. And if you're in a small city, hey, ask your police department to also start looking at stuff like that and get involved. So we're not saying all police officers are corrupt. We're supporting the good ones. The bad ones do need to leave the force, because it's only going to cause more problems in the long run. And as you can see in the chat,
one thing I just correct you.
Go ahead.
I just want to correct you is that, when you're talking about police oversight, going to the police department and saying, hey, we need oversight, is not where you want to go. Go to your city council, go to your mayor and say, hey, we need police oversight. The police should not have a hand in creating oversight. That should be something that the community working with the city council and mayor does. That's something that has to be community driven in order for it to get the independence and the street credibility that it needs in order for it to truly function.
Okay. And that's the reason why you go to city council meetings and stuff like that and bring up these issues and try to make it where they say, hey, let's put this money in this program to have an independent Community Police Oversight Board, for we can make sure everything is working properly within our department. So definitely appreciate you coming on, and definitely keep your comments coming in too. If you have a question that haven't been answered today that we talked about, send it in. Be like Dark Sage on Twitch. He sent in a couple of questions, so definitely send them in, and we can get the question answered. So I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you get called up on all the time, and you're getting pulled all the way. Hopefully you staying safe yourself with because I read your post about last week. You were just exhausted from all the running around you've been doing. And sometimes you just have to sit back and relax, let your body restore itself, and just take a day of silence. Just, hey, I need to re-energize my body. So, and other than that, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you want to tell the people before we close out, or anything you want to add to it?
I just sent you a message with my Twitter handle, so if you can put that in the message box for everyone, so that they'll know. You can follow me on Twitter at that handle, and they can also follow me on Instagram. They can follow me using that as well. But really, man, I just want to thank you, brother, because we go way back. We go back to Friendship West.
Yes.
We go back to the old Friendship West.
Old Friendship
We
West.
go back to the under Pastor Haynes, and that's kind of where we both got we cut our teeth as far as activism and things of that nature, man. So, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do, brother. If there's anything I can do, you know, let me know. And this is all new, man. I work a full-time job. And so it's just me. I don't have any assistants, anything like that. So I'm horrible at scheduling. So, I'm learning how to do that better and so that I'm not overcommitting myself. The last week I was committed to 2 meetings at the same time. And, a lot of people call me the Black Superman, but I can't, not even I can do that, man. So, but I really do thank you. And I thank the audience for your very insightful questions. And I just say, hey, we're all in this together. I may be the chairman of this board, but I answer to the people of the community, and that's who I serve. So, thank you for this time. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Please do a temperature check on how you're feeling because it's a very stressful and emotional time, and just don't let this moment break you. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this better.
We're going to come out stronger. And also, before we close out, if you're in Texas, the last day to register to vote is Monday. So definitely get out, register to vote. There's a voter registration drive today at the MLK Center in South Dallas. So definitely take advantage, get registered to vote. Even if you are a felon, go to vote.org. Make sure you can vote. Every state is different. So go to your state, put your information in. It asks you about your background and all of that. And it will let you know if you will be able to vote or not. So definitely get vote, especially in Texas. The last day to vote, to register to vote is Monday, the 15th. So definitely get registered and take advantage and vote. Not just the presidential election, but it's most important the local election. That's the reason why we can have community police oversight boards like this, because we're spending the money to bring people in that would do the right things. So we definitely appreciate you for tuning in. Jesuorobo, you made my day today, man. It's a wonderful day, so I appreciate it. And other than that,
you made mine, bro.
Hey, we made each other day. Once all this is over, we're gonna have to get together, and hang out and have dinner. Something. I got you, my treat. So I'm saying it on tape. It's my treat. I got you. We'll get together once all this is over. Other than that, I didn't hear you. It broke up a little bit.
I'll say I'm not gonna turn down free food, brother.
All right, most definitely. Other than that, thank you for listening to the show today. Speak on it with Who You With Kirk Dog. You can follow us on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter. If you have any questions that we did not get a chance to answer, put it on the page and I'll go back and respond and I will get an answer for you. Or send me an email, whoyouwithkirkdog@mail.com, and I will forward it to him and we will get an answer for you. But definitely click on the links, check out the website if you want to be a speaker. Definitely go on there. And other than that, we appreciate everyone for listening in today and taking time out of your schedule. And hopefully we'll do some more shows like this. If it's something that the community need to know, just hit me up. I'm here for you. And like I told you, you always have an open door whenever you want to come. I appreciate it, brother. Continue the leadership that you're doing and then on the front line for us. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Until next time.